I'm Pat G for my first official review for RIFF-MAG.com, and before you ask, no, I'm not wearing these sunglasses indoors because I'm a hipster or anything. I'm reading from a script. This is somewhat professional, so I didn't want a video of my eyes moving back and forth. Plus, I wanted to make sure that I said everything that was written down. Titty sprinkles. Who wrote that? So this week's review is for the new offering from Sabaton, Carolus Rex. Sabaton is a band I've only recently gotten into, and I'm pretty sure it's because of that Van Canto cover of Primo Victoria. Run diggy dun dun doo. But I checked out their back catalog and it's incredibly impressive. You'd think they would have gotten tired of writing about war by now, but I guess if Manowar is still at it, there's no excuse for Sabaton to call it quits anytime soon. This one deals solely with the saga of Carolus Rex, and this story, historically speaking, is actually really interesting. Carolus Rex, real name Charles XII, was the king of the Swedish Empire from 1697 to 1718. About 3 years into his rule, the Tsardom of Russia led a very heavily allied attack on the Swedish provinces because Charles was pretty young and inexperienced, and come on, you'd do the same. It was like shooting Swedish fish in a barrel. Zing. Anyway, Rex led the Swedish army into battle, which eventually led to defeat and his exile into the Ottoman Empire. There are differing ideologies on his rule. Some say he was a brave leader, and others say he was a ruthless tyrant. He was most notable for how comfortable he was on the battlefield. He showed an almost ungodly tolerance for pain, he was pretty straight edge, and he stayed away from females. I'm pretty sure he was built by Cyberdyne. For the band itself, Sabaton's sound is that of a heavy, symphonic power metal band that has great keyboards, powerful guitar riffs, and vocals that are usually backed by great harmonies and strong leads. The band's lyricism derives mainly, and by mainly I mean entirely, from famous battles in wartime history. And on all their albums, it was pretty varied. Some songs would be about World War II, some would be about the Falklands War, and some were about modern-day terrorism. But this album is solely focused on the Swedish Empire and the battles and policies that occurred during the time of Gustavus Adolphus and Carolus himself. And the album starts off with a great introduction called Dominum Maris Baltici. I think that's how it's pronounced. I went to public school, forgive me. And it leads into the thunderous and heart-pumping Lion from the North. This song is about as typical a great power metal song as you can get. It has keyboard solos, a fast tempo, and even some choir vocals. It also sets a good benchmark for what we're going to hear for the rest of the album, and you know it won't be taking any prisoners. The best songs on the album are the ones that directly reference moments in the life of Rexy Boy, as opposed to merely using war as a generic fodder for generic lyrics. Such as the title track, which deals with the crowning process of Carolus and the reaction it got from his people. I imagine it went something like this. That guy's the king now? Yeah, I guess so. He's like 15. Who are we, England? Haha, history jokes. At some points, the lyrics actually do read like a history text. For example, Killing Ground is about Verstocht, and I know I'm mispronouncing that. And they used actual numbers and statistics to talk about how the amount of men they faced, how they came out on top. The lyrics really do reflect this pretty well. I mean, I'm going by Wikipedia, but a lot of the information seems legit. Except for the Battle of Dave Matthews Sucks. That just doesn't seem historically possible. And if it seems like I'm treating this like a history report, it's because the album pretty much is. It's a pretty good representation of the life of Carolus Rex. And the music accompanies the information perfectly. The songs about victory have a very joyous feeling to them, and the songs about defeat are somber and low. You honestly feel emotionally engaged in the story because of the music, and vice versa. Even Poltava, which is still a little faster paced, is done in a way that evokes a strong sense of defeat on the part of Carolus, as it's a song dealing with his eventual defeat and exile. But my favorite track on the album is Long Live the King. It's what I feel should be the ending, but that's probably because I can't get a translation and I don't know what Runia Empiri is about. But using logic, I guess it means the end of an empire. Or a ham and egg quiche. It's definitely one of those two. But Long Live the King is the one with the harshest tones of gloom and sorrow, and tells how Carolus Rex's body was brought back to Sweden and how his body was presented during the funeral procession. It's a very slow-moving but powerful song, and I think it really sums up this album's tone. It's one of somber remembrance. Not a lot of the Great Northern War was positive for the Swedish territories, and this album reflects that pretty prominently. There's one more thing that could be mentioned, and that's that the album can be available with either Swedish or English lyrics, and I got them both. However, since I don't speak Swedish, I'm just going by sound here, and honestly, there's not much difference. You know when you hear Rammstein in English and it just sounds off? There's none of that vibe here. It's hard to tell which one I prefer, but I guess because it's easier for me to sing along with, I'm going with English. But because I am definitely one of those guys, I will be singing just like him.
Back to the fatherland, long live Carolus Rex.
Still, I really like this idea, and I think bands who like to switch from language to language in their songs should give it a try. To wrap it up, in general, the album is a great experience for fans of the band and casual listeners alike. The lyrics tell the story very well, the sound never tapers away from the traditional Sabaton sound in a way that's distracting or out of place, and the atmosphere that's created by the instruments, and especially the vocals, really do bring you into a different time and place. This is the way a lot of concept albums should feel. They tell a great story, they're engaging, and they have a point. And if you like what you hear from this one, check out Metalizer or Primo Victoria by Sabaton. Their other stuff isn't too much different from this, and it still packs the same punch, even when they're covered in acapella, which is pretty damn hard to do. For Riff Magazine, I'm Pat G, reminding you that life is too short to listen to bad music.